These are four activities, four melachos that are Torah prohibition. And their goal is the same. It is take from something that is growing and taking away all the impurities. So these are four steps, and each of them is a Torah prohibition. What we're doing now is dash, threshing. We are specifically taking something here we have the wheat plant, and you have there the seeds of the wheat. This one happens to be fresh, so squeezing it will not do anything. I tried to toast it a little and see what happens when it's dry. So the threshing, which actually means pressing down. So when you press it, it comes out, the seed comes flying out. And these are the little shells that are there. So actually, but just by pressure, the seed will come out from its shell. So dash is when it's enclosed specifically. So now, in the farming process, the shell was removed because of the pressure. And now we want to get rid of the shell. So there are three different steps. One would be called winnowing. Is anyone familiar with winnowing? Winnowing is you have a special shovel or basket, you throw it up into the air. And what are you expecting? You throw the whole mixture together with the shells and the seeds, You throw it up into the air, what are you expecting? The wind to blow away the light shells. Shell is very, very light, little pieces. This is the shell. So, so this is the next step. They actually had that in India. You see many times you have pictures of people throwing up baskets. The wind is supposed to be throwing it away. So that's the next step, using the wind to remove impurities. Then everything comes back to the ground. So now the light shells were all blown away, but now you have what's on the ground, it's together with stones, pebbles, dirt. So now you're going to now sort out, remove all the dirt, all the pebbles. That's done by hand. The next step is, after you've removed all of this, now you grind it. And now you're going to sift it to get rid of all the impurities. So each of them is a malach on its own. And we're going to go step by step. So, so we were, this is on page. So we had already covered this in 2 lessons. We spoke about squeezing the grapes and olives, all the other fruits. This is something that we also spoke about using the squeezing the fruits that we wanted. The only Torah prohibition was the grapes and olives, wine and olive oil. But the other rabbinic prohibition was for all other fruits and vegetables that are squeezed for their fruit. So we said we could use it as a food, and therefore we spoke about the lemon, squeezing it over the salad directly, so it's absorbed by the salad, so it is a food. And we spoke about, so the last lesson we spoke about eating the grapefruit. So you're eating it with a spoon, you cut it in half, spoon it out. So even though there's juice, the main thing that you're doing is you're actually eating it. And therefore, as long as you do not squeeze at the end, to squeeze out the shell for its fruit, for its juice into a spoon, that was not permissible. Now, we spoke about if you want to eat an orange, cut it up in quarters, suck out the juice, that would be fine. If you have something in your mouth, spelling it is no issue. Now, let's get to what we left it last time. Now, something that's absorbed by natural fibers, squeezing out the liquid, is a Torah prohibition. So this would be with natural fibers. So what about synthetics? So let's go ahead here. Okay. So so this would be a natural fabric, or the same thing would be with a cloth. So squeezing out this would be a total prohibition. Let's say you have the alcohol, you want to blend something with the alcohol, unless it's a special situation. We're not going to go into that. But right now, just absorbing the liquid or absorbing the liquid for its use. This is something that's prohibited because it is a natural fiber that would go into the category of sochet. of squeezing out something for its liquid. What about those that are synthetic? Yes.
I was at Shabbos now and they took a plastic bag and they scrumpled it up and they put soap on it. But it wasn't absorbed into the plastic bag, it was a plastic bag. That's okay?
So that's what we're covering right now. So what about, so it's only when it comes to natural fibers that would be going to the prohibition. The Rabbanon, rabbinically, they said that what happens if it's not natural fibers, but if it traps the water and being able to squeeze it out, that would be to us similar as to squeezing the cotton. So if we would be accustomed to squeezing things that are synthetic, but they retain water, and we would be doing that on Shabbos, to us, it might lead to the next situation, which would be squeezing out a garment. So therefore, they made a restriction. So even though when we speak about steel wool itself does not absorb. But since it's dense, if I put it in water, it is going to absorb. And I'm going to squeeze the cup. So okay, so let's see what we have here. So the steel wool, I make it wet. And I squeeze it. I am going to squeeze out the water. So the steel wool cannot be used on Shabbos for other reasons as well, because it's going to take off a layer of if it's a type of pot that I'm scrubbing, some layers might be taken off. That's a separate issue. But over here we're speaking about squeezing the steel wool so it's wet with soap in order to be able to cleanse. So this cannot be used on Shabbos. Now, here it says, Superio Shabbos scrubble. So what made this a Shabbos scrubble? What made it Shabbos? How is it different than this? So the seed doesn't retain water. If it retains water, it's the same as this. If it does not retain water, then it's synthetic. There's nothing to squeeze because nothing is going to come out. So let's see what happens. So there's something on the surface that's not called squeezing. But now I'm going to now try to squeeze and see if a lot of water comes out. And it's only the surface that is there. But my squeezing, no water came out. This doesn't count because it's just on the surface. It's not from the water that's absorbed. So that makes it the Shabbos one. So you would experiment and see in the weekdays, you would put it in water, squeeze it, if nothing comes out, then it's a Shabbos one.
So what happens like when it takes like a whole bunch of milk?
I'm going to come to this. We'll come to 1 minute. Now we have a water bottle. Is this for Shabbos or not? So again, we'll expect. So there are different. So this is a scrub, a bottle brush, and again, I did not experiment with this beforehand. There are those that are very wide bristles, stiff bristles. Where does this come in? I don't know. What I would do is I would smash it. Okay, let's see. So. So, try again.
Wow.
Okay, I would not use this on Shabbos. There's another kind that is wider, not as soft bristles.
How can you tell the difference between
When I feel there's something coming out. When I'm squeezing it, I can feel it. Over here, when I'm squeezing, nothing came out. I can feel it. This is
Oh,
This is our best one. Now we have the question about,
I have a question about the sponges.
Yeah.
Why are you allowing me to use the sponge? Is it not erasing or is that only?
erasing would be, it's cleaning dirt.
Oh, so that's okay.
Like that, yeah, it's not. We had our regular sponge, over here, we have it. A regular sponge, that itself is already no question about it. Okay. Now, we have here two toothbrushes. One comes and it says Shabbos toothbrush. Okay, now with this one, what you could not use toothpaste. Toothpaste on Shabbos has its own melacha called mimareach. Taking a solid and smearing it and spreading it out, that's its own melacha, its own category. That is when we come to it on its own. So the toothpaste is out. That will also include a lot of the different creams and Vaseline and Desitin and all the different lotions which are permissible, which are not. That will have its own class. So now, what is the difference between these two toothbrushes?
Bristles.
The bristles. This is a synthetic material. And see what I suppose you see it did happen. You see the water coming out? This is dense enough that it retains the water. Did you see it? Okay, so this cannot be used on Shabbos.
Why?
Okay, now what's the difference now? What kind of bristles are these? These are rubber. They're not dense, so it's rubber and it will not. This is like the synthetic fibers that are dense and close together, they retain the water. And this one, even when I go like this, nothing happens. This still has water that I'm still spritzing. So this one, so how is this actually used for Shabbos? It also comes with a liquid. So it's a liquid that's going to be used as the cleanser instead of the toothpaste. It's a liquid tooth cleanser that could be used with this, or just use this by itself.
Can I use that like the whole week or?
It said, no, it should be Shabbos. No, you should be able to know in your mind. It should be a different color, different thing. This is your Shabbos one, so it's just for Shabbos. You should not confuse it for a weekday. The same thing is also when it comes to those who use a brush for the hair, a soft bristle brush. If it is something that is permissible for Shabbos, you would experiment to see after you used it, if you still have hair on the brush, you don't have hair on the brush. If it is for Shabbos, then it should be set aside specifically for Shabbos, even though in the weekdays you might use something that's similar, but you make it as a Shabbos brush. Remember that for Shabbos, you have to know that when you do get to a tangle, not to rip the tangle out. So it's a reminder that it's Shabbos. Question.
Wrong, like the difference of.
Sure.
Is that silicone?
Yeah, I got it.
You want to pass it around?
Oh. Everybody was watching, but it's coming out.
Like my ass.
But yeah.
No.
So we can't use toothpaste, but
Toothpaste, no.
if we put before Shabbos on the brush. on the-
Also not, no, the smearing itself is the malacha.
Ah,
Smearing itself is the
ah,
malacha.
okay. But if it is powder,
Powder also becomes a paste. So there is a liquid, that you can put on top of this that would.
Mouthwash.
Hmm?
Mouthwash.
Mouthwash, also, as far as flossing is concerned, what's the issue with flossing? So we have different kinds of floss. There's the floss that comes on the string. And there you rip it, the size. So we do not rip the size on Shabbos, that's out. You speak about the flossing for the teeth.
But you also can't.
But you also have the ones that are already made, what are they called? Those little.
Yeah.
It's picks. Okay. Can you use the pick on Shabbos?
Depends.
Depends. What does it depend
If
on?
you bleed.
That's correct. We do not want to make any bleeding. So it matters how healthy your gums are. If they're bleeding when you use the floss, you cannot use it. You should go to the dentist. It's not it's not healthy. You have to take care of it. Okay, here we are. So, hold it up. So this is the picks. Yes, you want to hold it up behind? Okay. So again, if you have a healthy mouth and throughout the week, if you use it, you do not have any bleeding, so then you can use it on Shabbos. If there is, so then you're not using it. But the ones that you string, the string ones, if you tear all the strings before Shabbos, you make a supply for Shabbos, then you can use the string as well.
Please did something. I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah, tongue scraper.
So I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on.
Excuse me. Until now, like God made on the with double brush, right?
Yeah, let me hear.
God,
Yes,
Elohim,
yes.
don't like me if I did not brush Shabbat. Shabbat.
Your sister was here on Monday. I spoke to her about this. After class, I will tell you.
Okay?
It was you or? Were you here?
She's my sister.
I know, but I spoke to someone on Monday and gave this, okay, so we'll, after class, because the same question was asked the same word.
No, it's very important.
I will, yes.
Think of it as being on the rubber toothbrush, right?
Excuse me?
Think of it as being on the.
Yes. Okay, so now, anyone would like to see the wheat, you could pass this around.
Yes, where did you get this? I was
I
wondering.
bought it on Kingston Avenue. There is a flower store that sells, in the front, they have the wheat, grass wheat and regular wheat.
Ew. Me.
Eddie.
Can you please pass up the box of tissues?
Yes.
Thank you. Question, what happens if there's a spill on Shabbos?
You can clean it up.
Okay, how do we clean up the spill?
You tap it.
Okay, now, what I'm not going to do is I could put on a lot of tissues
We can't squeeze
that
it.
doesn't become saturated. and then put it on enough, and then I have to take it off. It's not going to be able to squeeze anything because there's not enough water in it to squeeze. That would be fine.
You press
What
it
about
down.
no pressing down. You'll just, just. Did the job. No sponges. What about a rag? If it's going to absorb all the water without being saturated so that you have to do the 2 steps. Usually, if there is a spill in the weekdays, what you do is you take a rag. If it's a big spill, you put the rag on, you wipe it up, but then it's still there. So what you're going to do is you're going to then bring the rag, and then do it a second time, a third time, until you mop up all the water. On Shabbos, we are concerned doing that, expelling the water that itself goes into a malacha, one of the two. So therefore, if it's a small spill, that if you put the rag on, it's going to mop up the whole spill. It's going to absorb all the spill, and it's not going to be so saturated that you're going to want to squeeze it. Then you could use the rag. If it's a big spill, and you would do it a few times, what you could do is you could put down a towel and leave it there, so no one will slip on it, no one will fall on it. So, but you will not take it away, because if it's so saturated, you might squeeze it. So you could put on, so it's a small spill, you put on a rag, you can wipe it up, because it's not going to be so saturated that you're going to.
Literally go like this.
This is gently, everything gently, everything gently. Not to squeeze out the water. Okay,
What if you spill something on your skirt?
mop up gently. Again, no squeezing out,
You can,
but you could,
can you like dip it in water?
no. There's no washing, there's no preventing stains and everything else. It's going to be a sacrifice for Shabbos if it's going to set in. We're going to speak about washing and all these things. You cannot take and go and choose, all these things that are all around. The covered Shabbos Kiddush, you're going to wear a badge of, I'm a Shabbos keeper, because you're going around with a stained blouse.
I have a pressing question I want to ask.
Okay. So, now, now what about the hair? What category does the hair come in? So the hair would be the same as our steel wool. Where the hair would be similar to this. It does not absorb the water, but if it's dense enough, it will retain the water. And therefore, taking the hair, if you've gone out in the rain, drenched, stopping, so you cannot take your hair and bring it out. That we could not do. So what could you do?
Not wash your hair.
We're speaking about now, you came in from you were out in the rain, you're drenched, you're dripping.
Whip it back.
So you take a towel, and you're not going to make a turban out of it, which is going to not to do that. What you're going to do is put the towel on. The towel is going to absorb the water, change to another position. You'll, without having to actually squeeze the hair out, you're going to keep doing so until your hair becomes damp. You could fluff it up from underneath with a towel on top, turn it around, but not to squeeze it, and not to take the towel and use that as your turban.
It's about
It's-
wash hair.
Hmm?
It's about wash.
Yeah.
It is-
I think you have
Yeah, the hair, we say it's the same as our steel wool. Even though from a Torah perspective, it did not absorb anything, but since it's dense enough to retain the water, so squeezing out the water from something that is from synthetic fibers would go into the category. It's a rabbinic.
So basically, we can't wash the hair, but if we don't do, I think like.
So washing oneself on Shabbos is going to be a separate, that goes into a separate category that has its own topic. You're speaking about taking a shower. So I'm speaking about that. I said it has its own rules. We cover that when we come to that topic itself. We're not going to mix these two topics.
So with the
doing this, is it the twisting that's?
The twisting is you're wringing out the hair.
Oh.
And so it's a method of wringing the hair. So that cannot be done on Shabbos, but you could put it in all kind of places and everything else that it's going to absorb. And now we have, are you allowed to dry your dishes and spoons, knives, and forks? Could you dry it with a towel? Yes, no? Drying dishes? Yes, no?
Yes, no.
What happens when we use our towel? Okay, let's go back with our towel. A towel now is, can you wipe your hands with a towel? Why? You see, so now you have in Machon, everyone is wiping their hands with everyone washed, everyone's wiping their hands with a towel. Is there what's going to happen to the towel eventually? Going to
Dirty.
get dirty. So we're not cleaning it, we're soiling it. Is it wet enough that we're going to be able to, so it's not that wet? So the same thing is also going with our dishes. As long as the towel is not saturated, you can keep wiping the dishes. So there's no issue with wiping dishes, nice spoons and forks, because you're not squeezing out the towel, you're not cleaning the towel, and you're not squeezing the towel for the liquid that's there. Since I brought this in already, we're going to have to continue just finish it off next time. But since I brought it already, we'll with ice cubes. Ice. Can we use ice cubes on Shabbos? What's the issue? The issue is two things. We could not crush the ice cubes, and that would also apply to concentrated juice. Anyone familiar with concentrated juice? They come in a container frozen in your freezer section. Then you take it out, you put it in a pitcher, you add water, and the juice is going to melt. And now you have apple juice, orange juice, whatever other juice it was. What is the issue here? So we have two issues. One thing is we cannot crush the ice. We cannot crush the concentrated juice. And also, we are concerned of moilid, creating a new entity, taking from an ice cube and melting it into, from a solid, it's going to become a liquid. So can we use ice cubes on Shabbos?
Yes.
Yes.
What don't we do?
Can't make ice on Shabbos.
We don't leave it here until it melts. And then we're going to have the water that was from a solid to a liquid. We're going to be creating this change. What you could do is, the right way would be first add the water. And then put in the ice cube. What happens now when it melts? Can you see the change as far as the water is concerned? The change, it gradually becomes a part of the water itself. You don't see that change. So there's no moiling, you're not crushing it. This would be permissible. It would also be permissible to have an ice bowl. You could put the whole ice in a bowl. Everyone will take the ice. Your purpose is not to melt the ice. Your purpose is to keep the ice so people could use the ice. So therefore, it would not be an issue that even though there will be melted water, but the water is as it melts, it's going to also, we're not using the water for the drink. We're just using the water to melt it. So therefore, if you're going to make the concentrated juice, We fill up first the pitcher with water, put the concentrated juice inside the pitcher. What we're not going to do is we're not going to take a knife and crush it. We're not going to do any activity that is going to break it down manually. So we're going to have it melt into the water, and that would be permissible. Okay, so we still have to speak about snow. And could we do something to melt the snow? We're going to speak about that. What else is there? Another topic. Milking of cows. So that's another two topics that I think that we didn't cover yet. And then we go on to the next Melochos. Please read ahead with our next Melochos, which is winnowing and sorting. Okay, I hope we clarified some things. Does anyone want any ice?
I will.
Thanks. You.
When we get eyes out of this,
Oh, so now there's no problem again. This way, if you just go this and it opens up. Some water is going to melt. We're not interested in having the melted water. We're not going to be drinking the water. This is something that's incidental. That's fine. That's crushing. No, it's fine. But it's not a deliberate. We're trying just to get the ice cube out of this. Burning it makes it loose. Some water is going to melt, but we don't want the water. We want to start it. No.
I think it's balagan now. Never mind.
No. Just
Ah, okay.
for good thing.
Thank you.
okay. So
You.
okay.
Yes.
I'll speak to you outside the.
Yes.
Outside the room, okay.
Gonna go back down.
Welcome. Sorry.
Yeah, we learn a lot. It's like down here. So we
He's like 10,000 pesos or more. He's.
This is yours.
Okay, leave it as
Numbers come to more. Yeah,